And we're live. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm Kat Shear, and this is a special presentation from Clydesdale Media. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone about our sponsors. RX Smart Gear provides world-class jump ropes, grips, and other gear for us all. Use the code Clydesdale15 for 15% off your order at rxsmartgear.com. Mobility Movement is a program that teaches you how to increase your capacity to heal, reduce recovery time, and restore your nervous system to peak health. Everyone gets a 7-day trial, and after that, our followers get their first month free when they use the code Clydesdale Free Month at mobilitymovement.com. That's mobilitymvmnt.com. And finally, C4 Energy, delivering the most effective, best tasting, and highest quality products. Get 20% off when you use the code Clydesdale at checkout at c4energy.com. That's energy.com. Okay, so today on Meet the Athlete, we have Granite Games semifinalist Joshua Hong. Josh, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you, Kat?
Good. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yeah, that's perfect. You can call me
Perfect.
Josh. Josh is fine. Yeah,
Josh. Sounds good. You can call me Kat.
awesome.
So Josh, you are going to be making your semifinal debut in Minnesota next weekend. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Training really hard leading up to it. I uh, got in touch with Chandler Smith and their crew at CrossFit New England, so I'll be training with them Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Going to do a mock competition, and so that's going to give me a glimpse of what the competition is going to look like, and where I stand, compared to elite level athletes. So the pretty exciting stuff.
Sure. Well, I mean, technically, you're an elite level athlete now. You've made it this far. I would call anyone that shows up at semifinals is elite in my book for sure.
Yeah, no, it's weird because obviously I'm lesser known, and I definitely have that underdog mindset just because last year I got COVID right before the quarterfinals, so
Mm.
never really even I've never done quarterfinals even, and to make it to semifinals this year it's definitely something that I definitely worked hard for, but something that I just never really imagined going into. So yeah, it's really exciting.
That is exciting. And you placed 68th in the quarterfinals, and that was even after some significant penalties in that pistol workout that you and everybody else got. So that's got to make you feel pretty confident that you are, right in the mix there. It's not like you're on the bubble.
Yeah, so I think coming up this year with the Open and the quarterfinals, I really honed in everything, not just training, but with work and recovery, sleep, nutrition. I really try to dial it down and see what I can really maximize in my life, and that really just gave myself a lot of time, and that sometimes feels selfish because that you have friends and families that want your time and stuff like that, but really just focusing on what you really want in life, that really helped me you know make a big leap this year for sure. And yeah, I mean, I still can't really believe how fit I got just in a year. But when you put your mind into it, you can definitely make some big progress. So that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, that's great. So when did you decide that qualifying for the CrossFit Games was one of your goals? Like when in your CrossFit career did that happen?
Yeah, so I started CrossFit around 6 years ago in Arkansas, actually, when I was going to high school there. I think I was 17 going into 18. And I just did CrossFit because I loved the atmosphere. I was just a bodybuilder, doing biceps and triceps, and then heard loud music one day and just went in. And my first workout was Karen, 150
Oh,
wall balls for time. Yeah, and I
and you
actually
went
never
back?
done. Yeah, so I was that gym bro that never did legs, and then all of a sudden I do 150 wall balls, and I was gone for a week. But I was like, wow, this is awesome. You have a community and a sport, something that I can chase. And so when I went to college in Boston, or in near Boston, and at Babson College, just coincidentally, CrossFit New England was 15 minutes away. And I knew about CompTrain, I knew about Ben Bergeron, so I made a trip there. And that atmosphere, it's really hard to not want to push yourself and be in that competitive mindset. And I think that's when I realized, like, wow, this is something that I really want to dedicate my life into. And that's pretty much where the journey started.
I love it. Did you have what kind of you mentioned you were a little bit of a gym rat there in high school. Did you have any other specific athletic background?
Yeah, so I have a pretty unique background. Both of my parents are professors and sports majors, and
Hmm.
so health and fitness, sports in general, was always a part of our family. That's what we did on our um, you know downtime, and so that kind of just helped me touch a lot of different sports. But my parents were also very diligent in making sure that I don't get injured in contact sports. So I did a lot of, I was a swimmer in high school. I played badminton growing up, and soccer, basketball, just dabbled with it, but never really wanted to, you know, go into a team or something like that. And so I just always viewed sports as a way of, just having fun and living life. And, that really helped me shape what I want to be in the future, which now I know is a elite level CrossFit athlete. So
Yeah, you mentioned sort of sport for fun, and now you're really in this sport for competition, and you've got that fire. How did you flip that switch from doing it for fun to now doing something that, some would consider slightly dangerous when you're sort of pushing those limits to be competitive? Where did that come from, do you think?
yeah, that's a good question. I still view training as fun. When I wake up early in the morning and go train before I come to work, I still view it as something that I want to do, not something that I have to do. And so that just I just loved training, right? Just being in the gym and working out, breaking sweat. That's just something that I always loved. And when you just train hard and it's something that you love, I think the progress and the competitive aspect just comes in. I almost think like I'm a 95% like a training athlete and just a 5% competitive athlete. But still,
Okay.
because I just love training so much, that just puts me in a competitive stage, and it's definitely something. Like I said, it's new. I'm still a rookie, but yeah, definitely excited to get on the big stage and make some ground. So
Now, if you I look back at your sort of pedigree on the CrossFit website, the CrossFit Games website, it looks like I'm guessing you have dual citizenship,
yes, I do.
so Korea and the US. And you've switched back and forth a little bit with,
Mhm.
looks like you were sort of vying for that fittest in Korea, maybe that title. Um, what made you decide to declare, US as your country of citizenship the last 2 years?
Sure. So, yeah, I definitely identify myself as a Korean as well as American,
Hmm.
and my parents still live in Korea. I speak fluent Korean. I have a lot of really good athletes in Korea that I train with, and I do wanted to represent Korea this year as well. But with COVID and things that are not really sure, I have a full time job now in the United States, so it was a bit of a big question mark if I had to travel to Korea to compete. And
Right.
so this year I just wanted to get into the U.S. Semifinals, and so that's what I did. But uh, yeah, to answer your question, that I did wanted to pursue becoming the fittest in Korea. That was something that I was always fired up about ever since I went to CrossFit New England, because back then 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you could make it to the games if you were a national champion, and that
Right.
was my goal. That was my ticket to go to the games. And as soon as the year that I actually became the fittest in Korea was the
Didn't
year
happen.
they, yeah, they
Right.
stopped it. But I wasn't really like, I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't really down. I just saw it as, hey, that just means you just got to hustle harder to get into the games. And I was completely fine with that because, like I said, this is really fun for me, and
Mhm.
yeah, I'm just having fun here. So um, I'm, I next year I don't know what's going to happen, but I did put myself um, in a position to say, hey, I want to become the fittest in Asia. That's my
Oh,
goal. I want to be the
okay.
fittest Asian. So I do have that goal still. So next year, I don't know where I'm going to be competing or what's going to happen, but that's still always in my back. And yeah, hopefully I can make that happen. So
Yeah. Have you done any statistical analysis of, scores for this year to sort of superimpose onto that to see where you would have stood in Asia? Are you right up there?
yeah, so that's an interesting question. I didn't do a whole lot because I think if I knew that I would be really, really close, that would only, make me kind of like
Sure.
bummed. But I do think, roughly speaking, I would be pretty close to the top. And
Hmm.
so maybe not this year, but maybe next year I might be in contention for a, ticket to the games. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is really exciting stuff. And yeah,
There's this guy, Roman Krenikov, that might
yep.
have have an issue with that. But yeah, that's a lofty goal, and I love it. I think that's great. Keeps you
Yeah, Roman
motivated.
is Roman is definitely a really good athlete, and
He's
he
the
made
real
it to the
deal.
games last year too. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely an opponent. But I think I'd rather have one big opponent than 90 of really, really fit athletes in the United States. But
True.
either or, I'm going to do my best and see where I land. So
Yeah, that's great. What are you most excited for this next weekend coming up?
uh, I think I'm excited for just the competitive atmosphere. So the only other in-person competition I've ever done in my life was Wadapalooza this year, and
Okay.
I didn't even make elite. I made RX division, but
Mhm.
even going through that, I realized how competitive people are, and the atmosphere is just like it's very addicting. The competitive atmosphere. So that's something I'm looking forward to, and probably something that I, you know, would want to go back time and again to compete and see where I stand.
Yeah. Did you have a chance to watch the semifinals this past weekend? The Syndicate, Torian,
Yeah,
Lowland.
yeah. I was actually in South Carolina for a business trip, so I didn't watch everything, but I did
Mhm.
see some of the workouts, especially the ones that I will be doing,
Sure.
the standardized ones. So yeah, I mean, it seems like they were going fast, and
Yeah, I was gonna say, any key takeaways? Did you pick up any pointers or what to do, what not to do for some of those?
yeah. So I think the Olympic weightlifting one, the complex, the barbell complex, I think a lot of people go really, really hot on the last attempt. And I
Mm,
think if you, uh, and I think Rory talked about this a little bit. He said the first one is, safety. The second one is try to make it. And the third one is go further than you think you can make it. And I kind of disagree with that strategy. I think you should, maximize every single attempt that you have.
okay.
And, even if it's a very incremental increase to the third attempt, you want to make sure you hit all those three because, um, you know, even half a pound is half a pound. That's still,
Sure, you're leaving points on
score.
the table.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
you don't want to do that. And I think the legless one really, it just shows how fitter people got compared to 2014.
sure.
And people are finishing in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It almost feels like the rope climb is not the separating factor, but more the running.
How fast
It
can you
just seemed
sprint?
like, yeah, how
Yeah.
fast can you sprint? So it'll be
Oh,
exciting to
interesting.
be
Yeah,
there.
I
Yeah.
I like that perspective. So you're only 23,
Mhm.
correct? So you're sort of on the earlier stages of your career, and in terms of the field per se. When you were coming up, was there some OG that you looked up to or sort of idolized as you're coming up in the sport?
Yeah, for sure. I think the people that I looked up to are one, what's her name? Stephanie Chung. She's
Mm,
Korean American as well,
okay.
and it's the Asian representation in this sport is pretty minimal, and so there she was definitely someone that I looked up to and say, hey, we have a place in this sport too. We just have to work really, really hard, and so yeah, she's actually in the Boston area. I actually never had the opportunity to meet her, but we're both sponsored by Ice Age Meals, and um, so I hope that we our path cross someday. But
Yeah.
she was someone that I always looked up to, and also China Cho as well. I know she was a really good athlete, and she's still killing it. So
Yeah. So we don't know much about you in terms of just, not a lot of coverage from you. What kind of athlete are you? Are you more of an engine guy? Are you more of a power output? What's sort of your blend?
yeah, that's an interesting question. So I always consider myself as an engine guy, like, or more of like the longer workout it is, I can do better. And
Hmm.
I was definitely that the case when I trained in CrossFit New England. But I think the sport is moving closer to a power output sport, if that makes sense. So shorter domains are more important. And if you look at the Granite games last year, there are a lot of workouts. Majority of the workouts were within 10 minutes, which
Yep.
that's just where the sport is going. And so lately, I've been training with a lot of high intensity interval type workouts, and so that kind of changed my power. Um, I became more of a power output kind of athlete, and I hope that that becomes an advantage next week. But strength was always my weakness. I'm still 180 pounds compared to people that are 200 and something pounds. So
Hmm.
that was always something that I struggled with. But instead of trying to bulk massively within a short period of time, I thought about well, you can either brute strength um, heavyweight, or you can be very technical with it. So I actually went towards meeting with Korean Olympic weightlifters and getting coached there and becoming more technical and knowing
Hmm.
how to lift heavy weights efficiently. And I think that's been helping a lot. And it kind of became, my passion. Even though right now, lifting heavy weight probably not won't be my forte in terms of the competitive landscape, it's the one thing I love the most in CrossFit.
Yeah, well, and you're maintaining your longevity in the sport, right? If you're sort of focused on the technique instead of just trying to pile the weight on. So that's great.
Absolutely.
Got some
Absolutely.
long-term goals there. Who's going to get your coach's pass in Minnesota?
So I'm working with Mike. He's my coach at CrossFit 5 Plus in Beverly. So,
Okay.
I found that gym, just because my company is only 2-3 minutes away from that gym, and I thought it would be a good place to start. So, talked to Mike a little bit, and I realized that he really knows, the competitive landscape of CrossFit and what I need to improve. And ever since I became his athlete, I had massive gains everywhere, and so it was definitely a leap of faith, but something that I definitely I think I made the right choice. So yeah, he will be coming with me to Minnesota and coaching me and cheering me on.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate your time. It's been great to get to know you. We will be cheering you on as well. My co-host Scott will be there, Scott Schweitzer. So be on the
Awesome.
lookout for him. He'll be wearing his Clydesdale Media shirt. And, we look forward to seeing you in the future of the sport.
Thanks so much, Kat.
Yeah,
It's
it's
really
been great
exciting
to meet
stuff.
you.
So yeah,
Very
awesome. Thank you.
excited. All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.